And we are now live, episode 3 of the Sweet Science TV. I'm your host, Efren, and we also have our other 2 scientists. We have first Melagod. Melagod, are you there with audio?
Yo, mic check 1 2 1 2. Can everyone hear me?
Right.
Hey, we got Melagod in the house.
And we got Robbie chiming in live from Madison. So everyone's here.
Let's get it cracking. Let's get it
going. So obviously, there's one thing and just one thing to talk about this episode. We're just going to get straight into this pay-per-view, specifically the Danny Jaocbs Canelo Alvarez fight.
Man,
there was a lot that happened. There's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of controversy just surrounding the channel, the zone itself, or the app, I should say. Go ahead, guys, get into it. What's your thoughts? Let's just jump right in.
I thought that was an interesting presentation in a couple of fights prior to the main event, and I thought most of those were tomato can fights. So I mean that was nice. We got to see a couple of knockouts before a real special boxing match.
Man, for Daniel Jaocbs to put up that performance, even though he lost after coming back from, I guess, bone cancer, props to him. But Canelo definitely showed a steady chin. Good fight all around. Good whole event. Good event.
Now, from my personal perspective, and I know we kind of talked about this a little bit off air over the weekend. I watched the fight, and I had my perspective on the fight, what I thought happened. I thought Canelo won.
Yeah.
Pretty dominantly. Then I went on the Instagram post about the fight, and a lot of people surprisingly said that Jaocbs was robbed. I then rewatched it, and I still feel my opinion is the same. It hasn't moved. I even watched it again a third time with no audio, and I just don't see any change. So what do you guys feel in regards to that? In regards to the people that feel that Danny Jaocbs was robbed by Golden Boy, everyone says it's a fixed job.
Well, what was the score? What was the official score? Do we have that? Like,
that was unanimous. Number? It was a unanimous decision. So I mean, it don't really, unless you want to look at it.
Speak on it.
It was a unanimous decision.
Yeah,
favorite to Canelo. There was no way. I mean, I expected maybe someone would throw a split. It didn't matter. We know who won the fight. But Jaocbs did a hell of a job, man. That was to me showed like the most heart I've seen from a fighter in a long time. Danny Jaocbs. But on our predictions on the last show, I thought it would be a split decision, and it turned out unanimous. But everybody scored it a little differently. I was thinking, watching on a small screen earlier during the fight when I was at work. I thought that Canelo won almost every round. Then I rewatched it today earlier, and then I kind of saw some points in the fight where Jaocbs later in the late rounds had some momentum, mainly the 10th round. But Jaocbs fought him pretty hard. I think Triple G may hit harder than Canelo, but Canelo, man, masterful boxing.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
And speaking of Triple G, he was definitely live. The zone's definitely trying to give you, is trying to accept that thought for that upcoming fight potentially.
Oh yeah,
seeds are planted, man.
He was live. He was all up in there.
I think Daniel Jaocbs put up a good fight, but it was pretty clear that Canelo took 3/4 out of those rounds. Daniel Jaocbs was just throwing flurries where he got connections. There were some clear shots, but at the end of the day, I think what happened is Canelo put together a better body of fight, and the numbers show what they are.
And I think to build on that, nobody can really question the preparation of Canelo. Because you would think, this guy's already rich. He's famous. He's one of the top pound-for-pound fighters. There's always moments in fighters' careers where they take a little bit off. They don't put enough into camp. But I think that might have been the crispiest I ever seen Canelo box. Like, we know he's powerful, but the way he put on a show with movement against a bigger fighter like that, to me, it was like a guy sticking to his game plan and getting it done, checking the boxes.
I think one of the things I was saying last week, which was Danny Jacobs' height, his like size, was going to be an advantage, and in this fight, it actually turned out to be the
disadvantage.
It
It was
did.
a big disadvantage. It went horribly wrong for him because what Canelo did. Canelo's fight is the inside game, right?
Yeah.
So Jacobs was trying to use that jab, but when he was jabbing, that defense, that bobbing and weaving, he was still marching forward as he's trying to jab him away. So the jab was useless, and then he would get up close and like pound his face in.
He was moving on different axes, Canelo, to get closer by the head.
Like that ninth round, our buddy who used to be a cripple, who came from Bonecastle, he had a nice shot.
He had like 2 or 3 big ones. He had 2 or 3 bombs in the 10th.
In that ninth round, and he's a big target, so you score a lot of big shots against a guy like that.
That was the problem.
Punches.
The size made a negative because he just like he has that size to keep him away. He didn't keep him away, and now you got that big body as a big target.
Yeah,
where Canelo's smaller and he can move around and just.
Canelo's very mobile.
And he fought that fight like the way Jacobs could have fought it. He fought bigger than his size, man. Canelo was working the jab. Canelo was working the body. So his quickness and his movement was a problem for Jacobs. But Jacobs stuck in there whole time.
So, Melagat, question for Melagat. At the beginning of the fight, the first few rounds, Jacobs started slow, and those early rounds where he did nothing, would have been the difference between him winning or losing. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think he didn't jump into the fight from the get-go? Like, what was going wrong?
At the very beginning, I was thinking Daniel Jacobs was just testing the water, not trying to get knocked out. That's my hypothesis. But he kind of settled in. It was kind of, you're 30 years old, you're younger, you're older than this guy. You better come with some 1 or 2 round knockouts.
Yeah, I agree.
Jacobs came in there probably with the game plan. I'm going to win this fight throughout the distance, and I'm not going to take punches, big ones early. And man, looking back on it, he's going to really regret not coming out there similar to the way Gennady Golovkin attacked Canelo in terms of, I got to fight this guy. I got to get hit, but I got to fight this guy. And Jacobs has a good chin, so he could have fought it similar to that, but he felt it out, and he came on much better as the fight went along.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like in that sense, where he did start slow, though, that's kind of like he already had a losing mentality, or he had a fear already of Canelo. I don't know if I would call it cautiousness. I think it's more of a fear because he was tucked all the way in, and for the first round, they're both literally just staring at each other. Yeah, and just waiting it out. So it was kind of like
he knew Canelo wanted the body. He knew Canelo wanted the body early in the fight. It did come along as the fight went on, but the bodies. That's Canelo's bread and butter. People like seeing the knockouts, but he always sets you up with tough body shots before he goes on top.
That's true.
They show in the post fight interview, they showed a lot of his son. So I don't know if Daniel Jacobs' son is boxing or not, but he should.
I don't think he will, just based on.
I don't think he looks soft as heck.
He looks pretty soft. No offense to the kid. He's a kid. He's a kid.
Here on this channel, we support good parenting. Like Jacobs.
But boxing is good parenting,
It is.
Love boxing.
It is. It does build character for
like Canelo.
For all those parents out there that want to develop their children to be better people, put your kids in the fights, and you'll see the magic from there. The character
or train like a fighter.
That was big for Canelo.
For sure. Now, in regards to Canelo's defense, I know we touched on it a little bit, but have you guys ever seen that sort of dominance from a defensive perspective? I know Mayweather has great defense, but this man put on a show. He put on
that was a historic display of defense. I thought that was some of the greatest defense you'll see in a prize fight of this caliber, and you're not going to do better than that. You can only hope to catch him. You catch him in between or something. But this guy moved like a cat and stalked Jacobs like prey.
Melagat, thoughts?
Yeah, what Ravi said. He stalked him like a prey. I think I've seen some good Mayweather defensive battles, definitely,
Yeah.
that have rivaled that, because I don't think of Daniel Jacobs as the fastest guy, but he definitely has reach. The reach was there. So, he's definitely ducking below. Good ab work from Canelo Alvarez.
I think we would agree. We can all probably agree that that showed he showed that he's capable of being more than just a one-dimensional power punch boxer. That he can actually box, he can move, and he can change his style depending on the opponent.
Now, do you think, from your guys' perspective, everyone knows that Danny Jacobs, he could switch. He's southpaw, or he could go back orthodox. So he's ambidextrous in that manner. Do you guys think that him switching up that style back and forth during the fight did him more harm than good? And why do you think he kept switching back and forth? Because he
in the last podcast I mentioned that he did that in the Triple G fight, and it backfired because he was getting caught.
Right.
Getting caught, and he's not a southpaw. I think he just did it to kind of cause a little frustration, but he has no type of real defense when he switches southpaw, and he gets exposed. He did better in orthodox. Just fight your way, man. You can't use gimmicks to beat a world-class fighter. You just got to fight the way you know how. So I like the fact that he was.
I like the fact that he was doing it the entire fight. I think that was consistency of him on his part, but like Ravi said, I think it opens you up a little bit too much, especially when you're not speedy and you can't recover like a Mayweather can. He's built to switch back and forth and do whatever he wants, but you're not. So
Jacobs relies on power. He relies on power, and he's not a crafty. He's not a crafty fighter. I think that's what the problem when his whole training or their whole game plan was. You're treating this man like he's a crafty fighter that can fight both ways, when in reality he has a hard right hand and he uses the left jab to set it up. That's his move, man. He doesn't have too many bread and butter, but that's his bread and butter. By switching to southpaw, I thought it took away from that.
Yeah.
And I feel like the jab was supposed to be the most pivotal part of his game plan, but that jab was null and void as it was ducked over and over. I mean, he's taking full power punches at the air. He's literally just swinging at the air. And then that has to be like that just destroys your motivation in the fight, you know?
When he switched to southpaw, he's still throwing the right hand. And Canelo started realizing that throughout the fight, like, okay, he's switching to southpaw, but it's a gimmick because he still wants to throw the leading right hand. So
I would say Canelo's counters are great.
Yeah, excellent counters. You can't do much better than that.
And now Jacobs did have that one good punch. I think it was in the 9th round. It was that hook to the face, and that was like a power bomb of a shot, like landed on Canelo's face, and it did nothing. What do you think was going through?
It was like, check your balls. That's what I have to offer. Right hook.
If he did something, Canelo played it off because he did get red off of that. You can't just take that kind of bomb and not feel it. He just didn't show it. So that probably scared this man. Not scared him, but
no, I wouldn't say scared.
Let him know, like, oh man, damn, I knocked guys out with that shot, and this dude walked through it.
That was the best shot of the night.
And he landed, I think, that same round, he landed one or two more. Jacob might have landed one or two of that same exact punch in that round. He won that round for sure.
I definitely think he did win that round.
He
definitely did better in the second half of the fight. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough.
It's an entire fight.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to win the fight. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people online are going to be critiquing the fight, saying Jacobs got robbed. But when you're in a title fight against an A-side fighter like Canelo, you taking it to the cards is not going to ever benefit you. You're going to have to dominate, and you're going to have to knock him out. Either one.
Another thing about that is, okay, if he started out hard and won a couple of rounds early and then lost the end of the remaining rounds,
that would be different.
The judges are going to still look at what like a human
you
would.
Started
like,
really
what's the
great.
Latest? What's the end result? Like, so maybe Jacob
what have you
started
done
out
for me
slow.
lately?
Exactly. So he didn't lose. He fought harder as the fight went along. So maybe that helped his case, and that's why some people think that he could have won the fight. But come on, man, let's be real.
Yeah. Too methodical in his fighting stance, trying to go the distance. You actually have to go for something when you're doing this type of stuff. The fourth round, he was getting tagged left
He
and
was
right.
getting tagged in that fourth round, man. That was good point. He was getting jabbed. Every angle he moved with that kind of swivel defense, he was getting shot. He was getting hit on the opposite of his defense. Like Canelo was ready for that. So he couldn't move his head that much. And that's what ended up. That's why he got caught most of the fight too.
I definitely agree with that. With that perspective, that's basically all it was the whole fight, for the most part. Also, though, Canelo did show he's human, even though he had a great prime performance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because near the end of the fight, the second half, he kind of like slowed down a lot and let Jacobs almost take the fight. What do you think? Was it just tiredness, or was it his corner maybe?
What he was tired. He was throwing a lot of punches.
He's 28 years old, man.
He was throwing a lot of
fighting.
He was throwing a shitload of punches and landing the first half. So, and yeah, you got to be tired. He's human. Harris, he has a great point. He's going to get tired towards the fight at the end, towards the end of the fight.
Yeah, the fact that he started out fast against this more experienced fighter and he dominated, I think that helped him out. And he didn't have to rush himself. Like Kawhi Leonard, he's one of the greatest right now in basketball. He's kind of a methodical player, and Canelo took that same type of San Antonio, Tejas mentality.
Hey, yo.
Shout out San Antonio.
So, I mean, I think we all can concur that Canelo did win. There was no robbery. That's the first thing people jump online and said, but I just don't see it. This was a legit fight. I'm sure Oscar, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Oscar was ready to pay the judges off. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, that was never gonna. He wasn't
Oscar
gonna.
has enough.
But he didn't need to. He didn't need to.
He was a little nervous.
He could save that money for his coke habit.
He was a little nervous. They had a little cut to Oscar during the fifth, sixth, somewhere in the middle of the fight, and he does the token. Yeah, very confident. And the camera stayed on Oscar. And he his face just dropped, and he looked just real frumpy and like
big payday for him.
That was a real up and down.
Was that emotion or was that drugs?
I think that's a mix of drugs and doubt and emotion.
I'm not saying this, Oscar.
I could see it in his eyes.
No, tío.
But hey, he was nervous for that's his horse. That's in terms of
workhorse.
In terms of the video game Red Dead, that's his horse. So
that's his horse. Old Town Road, baby. Shout out to Little Nas X or whatever. So now that fight's out the way, what do you guys see for each fighter? Who do you think they should fight next? What do you see for Jacobs? What do you see for Canelo moving forward for this year and the year coming up?
I want to bring up
speak on that.
Jacobs, man. He deserves a good fight. I think he deserves a fight where he should be the favorite. He earned it by fighting 12 against one of the toughest fighters you'll ever see. So the only thing I think Jacobs deserves a tune-up fight or maybe some time off.
Tomato can.
A little tomato can or two.
TC.
Then you let him. Then you throw him back in the fire after that.
Do you think Jacobs is no tomato can? But he deserves to fight a couple. I agree.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not like a bum, but just like a good fighter.
Like
like a 20-year-old or a 19-year-old.
Make somebody have to prove it. Yeah.
What about Amir Khan? They're the same age. They're both close.
Amir Khan wishes
one of them could move up.
After showing you're a quitter.
Let's never speak of that name on this show again.
Yeah, it's true. What about for Canelo? What do you see? There's a couple of fights that are being spoken about potentially. So Triple G again, which is probably why the Zone signed him. And then you got Andrade, he has the other leftover middleweight belt. But people are saying that he's similar to Jacobs, except a poor man's version of him.
I think Andrade's next. Andrade should be next against Canelo as food, and then we can take it back to Triple G.
And that'll
Canelo's fucking collecting belts like Thanos, man. This dude's just
collecting them all, man.
Every belt. So might as well have him take another one and then throw him against Triple G like we all.
He gets that next belt. He has them all. He'll have them all.
Why not retire at 31 years old? In 3 years, he should retire and then go to the WWE and get another belt.
That's a good point, man. I think you should be his manager. But this
At
guy's
the
only
Ohio, guys.
this guy's
Well, right now he has
fighter.
Oscar. I don't know
He's
if
a
he needs
fighter.
Harris. He has Oscar.
That's okay. Like Canelo doesn't
He has
have
Oscar, but
anything
Oscar,
else
you need me.
but fighting. He only fights. He doesn't have anything else. Maybe fast cars. That's it. Just fighting and fast cars. Seems like the only thing he cares about.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty true. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the Zone itself, the app. A lot of people felt that the commentary by the analyst Brian Kenny was too much in the favor of Canelo. Some say he was just jocking him hard as hell. Do you think Brian Kenny was fair with his analysis, along with Sergio, the Latin Snake, on the Zone, or what's your take?
I thought Sergio was really kissing Days and DAZN's ass on the broadcast.
He loves it.
As well as the other guy. What's the other guy's name again?
Brian Kenny.
Brian Kenny from Form. I think he's still with ESPN. Not too sure. Brian Kenny's. I like Brian Kenny. I think he does a good job. Sure, he was probably told to be a little bit extra juicy on that DAZN bias. But because they do shout outs. Okay, another thing off topic is why the fuck do they need to put a commercial of the main event during the fucking main event when we want to see the corner?
I'd rather see the corner.
We want to see the corner. Is it just, this isn't quite pay-per-view, so y'all going to get what we give you? Y'all paying $20, $10 a month. So we're not going to give you the whole fillet. We're going to cut off parts of that and say this is what you get, because I want to see the corner. People pay for that. You want to see the corner. If it's on TV, commercial, fine.
I think showing the corner and when they're talking to the trainer, the cut man, seeing what's going on in the corner, I think that's one of the most essential parts of watching a pay-per-view fight.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, that's where all the masterminding goes on. That's where all the adjustments happen. That's where a lot of the magic happens, basically.
Sometimes things get changed in the corner that you're like, wow, he said it and he actually did it and executed it. That's why I love that's a really important part of the fight game. Watching a big matchup is getting that extra.
I agree, and I didn't appreciate them cutting away to a Hennessy commercial. Although I like Hennessy. On the Sweet
we
Side
all like
TV.
Hennessy. We all like Hennessy for sure.
We all love it
for sure, no doubt.
We're not promoting it because they're not paying us, but we will partake. Not yet.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just rather see some corner talk going on as opposed to just watching a Hennessy commercial or having them cut away to Triple G and show a montage of Triple G fights. Like,
another thing, I think it was Brian Kenny when they cut to Triple G. Brian Kenny was saying. Some bullshit about he's wearing sunglasses. Maybe he'll turn heel. Like this is fake. This is real life. This is boxing. This isn't WWE. They got it. I think DAZN is getting uncomfortably close to storylines, and
that's what's making me scared a little bit.
I'm a little bit worried because what comes after that fixes. But we're not gonna get into that.
Okay.
We're not gonna get into that.
Speak on that.
I mean, that's just how I feel. I get a little passionate sometimes. You feel me?
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with the way they're painting the picture for you. It's not organic to the sport.
Let people come to their own conclusions.
HBO kept it organic, in my opinion.
HBO's GOAT, man. Rest in peace, HBO.
Rest in peace, HBO boxing. Also, another thing that was kind of weird. Again, the Zone has an overemphasis on Danny Jaocbs' cancer. And after the fight, they cut away to Oscar. I guess he was walking by. So Brian Kenny interviews him. And then Oscar has to, again, chime in on the cancer that had nothing to do with this fight. He just said he defeated cancer. That makes him a strong fighter. And it's like, no.
But
that makes him a survivor, but it doesn't make you a great boxer in a way. Like, stop milking that.
De La Hoya pulled a jab and duck on that, metaphorically speaking, because he said, beat cancer, but Canelo won unanimously and then walked away. He threw that at the bottom there. I heard that shit. I heard that. It's like, it could
have been the drugs.
Don't fluff it up, man. Just be real. You like Canelo, and De La Hoya's just got to stop trying to sell me. De La Hoya got to stop selling me shit that fight fans already know about. Basically, DAZN's got to stop treating boxing fans like they're new to the sport.
Yeah, they just need to let everything play out. I think the zone has potential, but they're doing a little too much. They even have like a post fight video montage that they created about the fight afterwards. Like they're really milking this one fight, which scares me. They should be getting ready for the Anthony Joshua fight, the Triple G fight,
Well, the
etc.
Joshua
And,
fight
and the
is a
thing is,
circus.
even though I didn't watch it live, I'm listening to you guys describe your live experience, and the fact that they're not showing the live interviews on the side, that tells me that they're after profit. And they might do that storytelling line, but only time will tell.
I'm just glad again. At the end of the day, I locked down the Zone app for that OG price of like $9.99 because to
Yeah,
pay $20 for that is kind of ridiculous, and I would just
yeah,
be
Oh yeah, and
finding other ways to
another
watch.
thing, guys, to the zone subscribers, I think they might have an IP limit on the logins. So I'm not saying I found out, but I heard about that. So just to keep that in mind when you
That's
share
good to know.
your passwords among your friends, try to keep it,
Keep it to a minimum.
keep it to two IPs only, guys.
Do not pass that around.
he's a pro. Listen to him.
Hey, I know.
So yeah, that's basically what was happening for a lot of people that were watching live. A lot of people had either issues logging in or a lot of issues just with the lagging.
Yeah.
The zone keeps saying, "Oh yeah, contact our customer service or support." What good does that do once the fight's over? Again, another major fight ruined by the zone for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
something
hate
they
to
got to
see
work
it.
on.
Over your house, you order pizza, and you have all this entertainment. It doesn't matter after the fact. You need to have it right there, right then and there. That needs to be addressed. But yeah, go ahead, Robbie.
Live. It needs to be live. I agree. It needs to be going smoothly. Pay-per-view never gave you that shit, so the zone needs to be on top of that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, for the most part, pay-per-view.
WWE fans will tell you differently, or WWF at the time. They had some outages, but yeah, normally not.
Yeah, it's not good for the sport.
Not at all.
This app, the zone, is going to determine whether this sport thrives or not in a way. Because yeah, we have ESPN, Top Rank, you have PBC and Al Heyman, but the zone is going to determine the future of boxing. So only time will tell.
Especially since HBO is gone. Showtime boxing, ShowBox is still going on, but they don't. I mean, they don't have always the biggest fights. It's more spread out. So
Yep.
I mean, yeah, the zone has a great opportunity to kind of get the fight game more exposed. So after this fight, okay, besides all the technical difficulty, BS, the fight itself was a great fight, and it lived up to
phenomenal.
we don't usually get that. We don't usually get that.
Some people think the fight was boring. I could kind of understand that perspective because you're like prior to the fight expecting a big bloodbath, but it was masterful boxing. It was a chess match, and people need to appreciate that as opposed to just expect a knockout or just a bloodbath every fight. Because if you were in the ring, I don't think people are gonna like risk it all, but they expect everybody else to do it.
Exactly.
So it's like you're gonna look out for yourself while trying to secure a victory. Floyd Mayweather perfected that. He showed everyone how to do it. He has the blueprint. So that's what you should be expecting from boxing.
You need
period.
If you want to beat Canelo, you have to. You saw the way he played defense, the way he fought with the head movement. You got to do it better than that. And
if you want to beat Canelo, you have to be a sharpshooter with your punches. They have to be timely and accurate as hell because that head's going to be moving out the way before that arm reaches that section or that spot, I should say. That head will already be out the way. So
I'm interested in seeing who comes after Canelo. Does he have a camp of his own? Is he going to bring up a young Latino fighter or what? What's going to happen after?
He does have Ryan Garcia, so he's a big prospect, but I think that guy's under the tutelage of Oscar right now. So I don't know. Canelo will have to develop his own talent after he's done fighting.
Because it's Golden Boy first.
Lightweight has been getting bigger. Lightweight and featherweight due to names like Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia. But I think in the end, it's always going to end up being on a big, giant card. Traditionally, it's a welterweight fight, middleweight fight, or a heavyweight fight.
Also, quick thing I want to chime in with. Errol Spence is being rumored to be a potential opponent for Canelo for $20 million. What
I
do you
heard
think
about
of that fight?
I don't think Canelo's camp wants that fight right away, and I don't think Errol Spence's camp, contrary to what they're saying, wants that fight right away, because they can simmer that one. That can come after Triple G. I think
That could
Triple
come
G
after
is the
Andrade
one.
and Triple G. Like
Yes,
that could go
yeah, that's
third.
down the line, and that'll be like kind of a similar path.
Did you say $20 million?
$20 million is being offered potentially to Errol Spence to take on Canelo Alvarez. It's a big pay.
That's a very hard offer to have Errol Spence say no to. So if that's actually the case, I'm interested in seeing the details on that case. But go ahead.
I don't think it, because if that's the case, he
could be rumors. It could just be all rumors.
I think if that was the case, Spence would have definitely taken that fight. That's the biggest pay he would ever have in his career for a
I don't know about that, but it would be a big payday to say no to. He could have more than that, but I'm just saying it's a big payday to say no to.
Right now, that's the most money he has ever seen offered to him in his career.
Right.
I'll go on a limb and
say
that. To this point. It could be bigger. Maybe he's banking on that. We'll see.
I mean, if Canelo keeps whooping ass and Errol keeps whooping ass, that's going to create a mega fight that's bigger than what would be
just to get into numbers
right now.
Too. 30 million went to Canelo this past fight, 10 million for Danny Jaocbs. So 20 million offered to Spence seems a little bit sketchy. I'm not.
He lives in Texas. He doesn't even need $1 million. He can live very nicely off of $800K.
I just don't think the offer is real. I question it.
Again, time will tell.
Yeah. You know? We'll follow up on the next show, I guess.
Yeah, we will follow up more about that story. We got to do a little research on that. I want to find out.
And I'm thinking, just for all our fans out there, our subscribers, I think the next episode we're gonna go more into the Anthony Joshua Ruiz fight, and also right around the corner is the Deontay Wilder Dominic Brazil fight. So we're gonna have to cover those next two fights in the next episode.
Brooklyn, New York.
Dive into that. So yeah, it's gonna be a raw fight. Everyone's gonna watch both.
Barclays Center is cracking nowadays. Barclays, man.
That's the spot. It's the new mecca of boxing right now. Not Vegas, but Barclays. It's getting
nice. It's
Madison Square Garden also.
MSG, Barclays. It's good to see boxing on the East Coast.
Shout out to the Nets.
Hey, shout out to
Brooklyn.
Formerly New Jersey Nets.
And that, I think, should conclude our episode. But before we do end this podcast, this live stream right now, I do want to give a shout out to the channel that's being done by Javier Sotelo. So check him out on his YouTube page. If you have a beard, if you're into your facial grooming, I know Robbie has a beard. I have a beard. Check out his channel. He has a lot of reviews. He also has a lot of good interviews with people that are in the beard business, whether it's the different oils, just different products you can utilize. So there's a lot of good information there. And also I want to thank all the subscribers, all the viewers. Our numbers are growing exponentially. I think I see it when I look at the analytics. And just so everyone is in the loop again, we do have that raffle drawing going on. Again, we need more people to subscribe. Eventually, when we get the numbers high enough, we're going to have that drawing for that glove that's signed by Mayweather and Pacquiao. So that is still on the line. That's still up in the air. And another shout out to Estuardo. Again, he's dropping mad comments.
Shout out
Robbie,
to Estuardo.
do you have any people you want to shout out? Any other thoughts before we for the night?
Shout out to Pooley Sports and Events Bar. My job over here. Good people over here. Stop by for a beer, some great craft beverages, and excellent selection of food. So this is a great spot to host a podcast like I'm doing, host a meeting, and I just want to say, quick shout out, because this is this nice environment right here. This isn't because of me. So shout out to
the kitchen there. Shout out to our newest subscriber, Drew. She just subscribed, I think, yesterday or earlier today.
Yep.
I saw that. So we got more subscribers coming. Yep.
So shout out to all the support, guys. We really appreciate it, and I'm very humbled by it.
Mela, got any final words? Any takeaways to end this off?
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all our fans. Everybody who clicked subscribe, make sure you click that bell. And we're going to have some hot links coming up for you down the line. We're gonna get better, like we said last episode. So hopefully you guys keep liking us.
And Melgod, if you could cut the music back on in the memory of Danny Jaocbs, again, great fight. And let's
Danny.
just end this on a high note, if you will.
Shout out.